Well, this is code number 4, robotic students, and I've got code number 3 open right now. So we're gonna start by going File, Save As, and I'm gonna delete my 3, add a 4, and click Save. Right. So in this code, our goal is to make the robot make some decisions based on information that we're given it. So if you think back to the last code, we took what was linear in code number 2, we made it into a loop by adding this infinite while statement at the top here. So by putting the while 1 equals 1, we were able to have it repeatedly drive forward and backwards after a button was pressed. Then it would do donuts after a button was pressed. And then we could have it drive backwards and forwards again after we press that button. And so what we want to do now is give it some options to say, is this condition existing? If so, I can do donuts first. I could drive forward and backward first. Or if you keep pressing the same button over and over, it could just continually do donuts and skip the forward and backward phase of the program, or vice versa. So this is called an if-else statement. So what the robot is doing is it's saying, if this condition exists, I will do this. Otherwise, I will go on and do something else. And I got to let you know, I am not a robot coding expert. A lot of what I'm doing is just searching Google for some of these robot C reference pages. So if I go back here, you can see here was my Google search statement, if else, and then I put Vex Robotics in there to make sure it matches up with the platform we're using. And my first hit was one of these Carnegie Mellon pages here, which pretty much explains the whole if statement. So we're going to say if a condition exists. All right, they're making an announcement for school here. It doesn't pertain to me. So what we're saying is, if this condition exists, carry out these commands. Okay? And we're actually going to use one that's formatted something like this. If one condition exists, do this. If another condition exists, do this. And so again, if you want to try adding to your code, or when it comes time to start designing your own codes, you don't have to do exactly what we've done in these videos. You can take what you know and you can apply it to some other situations. All right, so enough of that. Let's get back to our code here. I'm going to delete this top line where I said until touch for my right switch. And what I'm going to do is say if, and then I'm going to say sensor value. And I think, if I remember correctly from that back page, I need to capitalize sensor value. All right, so now we're saying if sensor value of my right switch, and I'm going to go back here and just check this out. So I'm saying if I've got sensor value in parentheses and I've got right switch in a second set of parentheses, we could use greater than or less than signs, but that right switch is a digital switch. So I'm going to say if the right switch equals 1, carry this action out. And you can see the commands for if that statement is true are put inside their own set of curly braces. So I'm going to go if sensor value right switch space equals 1. I'll put my closing parentheses in here. And then I'm going to get rid of that semicolon. We'll do a opening close curly brace, and we'll do a closing curly brace. Right. So I'm just going to check this section of code before I move on by clicking compile. Nothing happened down at the bottom, right, which is what I was hoping for. So now I'm going to add a second statement here, a second if statement. And so I got if sensor value of my left switch, right, which is also a digital switch, equals 1. I want it to activate that donut sequence. So I'm going to come down here, set up my curly braces. And there's my closing brace. And so I can say fix formatting, and I can have it tab it over so these curly braces line up. Compile my program one more time, and things are looking good so far. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now we've got two if statements. So we're saying if the value of switch 1 equals 1, so if it gets pushed, it'll change from a 0 to a 1 value, do this. If switch number 2 changes from a 0 to a 1 value, do this snippet of code here. Now there might be the possibility neither of those things happen, so I'm going to put in an else statement right now. And that means if neither of those statements above are true, I want the robot to do this. So I'm going to say else, and then I'm going to come down here. I'll put in, an opening curly brace. So if neither of the switches are stopped or pushed, I just want it to stop my bot. Right? And I'm going to, instead of saying stop motor left and right, I'm going to use this stop parentheses command. That would stop all of my motors. So that's a little shortcut you might want to use going forward. I'll put my closing curly brace here so it matches up with the opening one underneath my else statement. We'll compile the program one more time. And it said, you forgot the semicolon, Mr. Coleman. So we'll go up there and put our semicolon in, compile the program. All right, things are looking good. So now we're to the point where we've evaluated it with that compile button in our virtual environment. It is your turn to plug in the orange code to your SwerveBot, get this downloaded, and test it out. Try pushing the second button first, see if you can get it to do donuts before it goes forward and backward, or see if you can get it to repeat one of these statements here. Maybe you can get it to drive forward and backward 2 times in a row. Now that we've got our infinite while loop along with our if-else statements in our program here. So this is code number 4. Your instructor will let you know when this is due in class, and you need to show him or her your screen here with the code on it along with your functioning robot. Good luck coding and keep up the good work.